Violates my journalistic integrity. No. He's gonna puke. No. Engaging this ignoramus this evening. No. Shit. How the hell am I gonna do this?
What are you bitching about now?
Hey, we got a big problem here. You know all these sound bites that we use in the show every week? Well, as it turns out, most of them are dependent on iMPACT being bad.
Yeah, so?
So iMPACT was good this week. I mean, really, really good. Most of these sound bites are unusable. So what the hell am I supposed to do?
I don't know. I guess you'll just have to be entertaining on your own merits. God help you.
I don't know what took TNA so long to finally grasp the concept of a go-home show, but by God, they've done it. They managed to make Destination X look like one badass show on paper this Sunday, and really stack next week's iMPACT as well. Imagine that. Hyping pay-per-views, announcing things in advance. TNA is finally acting like a professional wrestling company. Better late than never, I guess. Bully Ray starts the show off with the announcement that he is now on Twitter, or Twitter, as he calls it. Now, you might think this was kind of silly and not that relevant, but because this is Bully Ray we're talking about, you'd be dead wrong. Because he turns this into a heat magnet like he does with everything else. Then Joseph Park comes out, and Bully kind of tricks him into a no DQ stipulation for their match next week, before mentioning that he took out a restraining order against Joseph Park's brother Chris. You know, Abyss. So he can't interfere in the match this time. So Bully Ray, in his own words, left Abyss for dead, and now he has a restraining order against Abyss. Only in pro wrestling. That was kind of an eye-roll moment, but if you disregard that part, this was a really fun segment. I feel like a broken record praising these two again, but Bully Ray can do no wrong right now. Joseph Park is just a joy to watch, he's gotten over really well, and you put them together and it's always entertaining. Of all the ways to breathe new life into the Abyss character, I never imagined it would be something like this, but damned if they didn't pull it off. Next was the weekly TV title match, which is a thing again, apparently. And this week, Devon's opponent was Crimson. And my first thought was, this was probably the most unceremonious way to bring Crimson back to TV that I can think of. Unless he's going to win the TV title here, which is what I hoped would happen. But sure enough, after they spent a year and a half building this guy up, after they finally figured out how to make his character work and get him over, Crimson jobs to Devon in 2 minutes. So just like that, Crimson losing a match is already being treated like it's no big deal. What?
This whole show is ridiculous!
I've been a proponent of Devon's TV title run, I really have. I think he's been doing a good job giving it a shred of validity after idiots like Eric Young and Robbie E took turns shitting all over it, and I stood by that when Devon was squashing clowns that had no business going for titles. But when stuff like this happens, it becomes counterproductive. The TV title should be that viable second-tier championship used to groom promising upper mid-carders for the main events. A guy like Crimson is perfect for the TV title. He should be a serious contender for it, along with guys like Gunner and Magnus. But when you have Devon plowing through the people the championship should be built around, that's when his reign stops being about rehabilitating the title and becomes something that I just can't support anymore. Then Madison Rayne appeared and shoved her tongue down Earl Hebner's throat. Holy shit. You know, come to think of it, Earl Hebner has made out with Madison Rayne at more than one TNA live event I've been to. Nah. You know, when I said that, I was half kidding. So Madison Rayne goes for Earl Hebner, foregoing any number of available men closer to her own age in the process.
I mean, she had the opportunity for a split second of her life to be with something as great as all of this.
Now that's messed up. Sure, she's irritating as hell, and the sound of her voice can shatter glass, but she is an attractive woman. As long as she kept her mouth shut, I imagine there would be plenty of more eligible men vying for her affections.
Once you go Brian, there's no point in trying. Oh, yeah!
What? You know, not that this wasn't weird, but the more I think about it, the less surprised I am. Maybe Madison's just following Dawn Marie's lead and she likes the older guys. And if you've ever been to a TNA live event, you know what a pimp Earl Hebner is. God help me, I got a chuckle out of this. The last thing I want is for it to turn into another crooked referee angle, but it's already more amusing than the thought of Madison crushing on Garrett Bischoff or Robbie E., so what the hell, I'll give it a shot. Chris Sabin comes out and he talks about his injury, how the doctors and his family are telling him that maybe it's time to hang it up. He's getting a lot of sympathy from the crowd, and then Bobby Roode shows up. He calls Sabin pathetic, shits on the X Division, he knocks Sabin down, attacks the injured knee, until finally Austin Aries comes out and makes the save. Great segment. Roode looked like an absolute bastard here, and the history between the Machine Guns and Beer Money put a lot of extra juice behind this. And as a Sabin mark, I was sitting here like, you son of a bitch, I'd just like to fucking... I heard some people speculating that this means Sabin's injury is a work. I don't think it is. I think they just wanted to throw him a bone here and put him on TV. His contract is up in a couple months, so my guess is they're just trying to keep him happy, and maybe his knee was well enough to do that much. And it worked! It put a ton of heat on Roode, and it got Aries over that much more too. This would have been the best segment of the night if they hadn't topped it at the end of the show. Like last week, we had 2 X Division tournament qualifiers featuring guys from outside the company. Oh god, so many names to keep track of. And this got me in a little trouble last week, so I need to be careful here. I'm really bad at remembering people's names, so I made sure to write them all down in my notes this time. I think I got this right. We had Flip Kendrick wrestling as Flip Casanova, because that's just so much cooler, versus Dakota Darso. So some of them had new names and some of them didn't. I don't know why. To be honest, I wasn't digging this match at all. Casanova came off like a really generic spot monkey. You know, he did all the acrobatics and stuff, which were impressive, but he was kind of sloppy, and I believe he actually broke Darso's nose. And Darso, I thought he sucked when they used him last year. I thought he sucked here too. And quite frankly, based on that match, I wouldn't sign either one of these guys. But then we had the second qualifier, and this one was Johnny Yuma wrestling as Lars Only versus new ROH Tag Team Champion Kenny King.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Fuck yeah, you call him Kenny King. You don't give him some stupid new name. You let him wrestle with a name that was trending worldwide before this show even started, motherfuckers. Sign Kenny King right now! Wouldn't you love to have been a fly on the wall when Jim Cornette found out about this? Oh my god. Apparently, King had a verbal agreement to re-sign with ROH, but then TNA called and he figured, well, I've got a daughter to support, and I'm not getting rich working for Ring of Honor. And I saw that official statement ROH put out. They are pissed. And you know what? I don't really give a rat's ass. They've got no one to blame but themselves for this. If they didn't have Kenny King locked into contract, why in the blue hell did they put the tag titles on ANX? How fucking stupid is that?
You people are fools!
Verbal agreements don't mean shit, ROH. Ask TNA, mention Kevin Nash's name, they'll tell you. And you know what? Maybe, if you'd pushed Kenny King like the star that he is, maybe if you'd opened up your pocketbook and paid him more money, maybe if you hadn't let him languish in the tag team division while wrestling's greatest tag team in the Briscoes feuded over the titles for 10 fucking years, he wouldn't have wanted to leave your company in the first place. I'm just saying. And if TNA are serious about spotlighting Kenny King and pushing him like he should be pushed finally, then ROH can just go piss the hell off. Sign Kenny King right now! I much preferred this match to the first one, minus Only's botched Russian leg sweep, or whatever the hell that was supposed to be. Kenny King did awesome, and when you consider his win here, the fact that they put him in a backstage segment with Aries, I marked out huge for that, by the way, and that he was the only one of these guys to appear in the post-show, if he's not signed already, it looks like it'll be a done deal real soon. Sign Kenny King right now! And this is fantastic. Kenny King is the total fucking package. I said last week that with Aries moving up the card, they needed to find a new dynamic character to build the X Division around. Well, now they've got one. Kenny King for the fucking win. Yes! They had a nice little video package to follow up on Taylor Hendricks earning a contract last week. She wasn't actually on the show, but it was good that they showed this just to keep her in the fans' minds. That's smart. That's what they should have done with Alex Silva. Unfortunately, he's got the visa problems that prevented it. But yeah, it's good to have Taylor's presence felt here, and given how well she got over, it would probably be a good move to get her on the show sooner than later. I'm not saying they should put her in a major feud immediately, but, you know, start getting her in some backstage pre-tapes or something. The Knockout roster is pretty thin right now. I mean, Angelina's gone, Winter and Sarita and Rosita probably aren't far behind her, so they need to start getting some new women in the mix. And hopefully, we'll see Courtney Rush get a shot in gut check very soon. The Gail Kim-Brooke Tessmacher rematch was postponed until next week. I'm not really sure why. Instead, we got Gail and Earl Hebner's new lady friend versus TNT. I don't know what happened here, but this whole match just fell off somehow. It wasn't clicking for me at all. The only interesting thing was the story of it. Tessmacher gets taken out early, Tara kicks the heels' asses by herself, then tags in Brooke so she can get the pin. Add that to the interview they did before this, and I couldn't have been the only person thinking Tara was going to turn heel here. I'm glad she didn't, because that would have been way too obvious, but they may be planting that seed. And there is a good story they could tell with that. I wouldn't be against it, but it would be a shame to break up TNT, because they're really the only over-knockout tag team on the roster. And no, ODB and Eric Young don't count. So AJ Styles comes out for a promo, Daniels and Kaz show up, and they were smart enough to put the Claire Lynch thing on hold for the week so they could focus on hyping this match. AJ says that the accusation of him fathering Claire Lynch's bastard is a load of crap, even though Daniels says he has proof, but then they switched to talking about the pay-per-view. There was nothing really bad about this exchange. It was fine for what it had to do, but AJ made a really good observation here. He says that this thing between him and Daniels has been going on for a year. Actually, it's been closer to 10 years, but I digress. And now, 1 year after they had a match at Destination X that they said was going to be the last one ever, after they had another match at Bound for Glory that they said was going to be the last one ever, after they had another couple matches after that, they're going to have yet another one. But the big difference is, last year it was Daniels who wanted the match, and this year it's AJ who wants it. Which I guess is supposed to make this all new and fresh. Also because it's a last man standing match if you honestly care. And I'm sorry, but I just don't. It's AJ and Daniels for the umpteen-thousandth time. I'm tired of it. I'm sure it'll be a great match, it always is. I just don't give a shit anymore. James Storm versus Jeff Hardy was the main event. Now this was announced last week and hyped up throughout the night with video packages, so by the time the bell rang, they'd done a nice job in making this feel special. And the match was pretty good. You know, a little too much stalling in the beginning, but not a bad match at all, and they gave it a fair amount of time. Jeff Hardy wins. I'm fine with that. You can't have James Storm beating everyone in this thing. If it's just James Storm way ahead of the pack through the whole tournament, then there's really no drama. Even if him winning it might be kind of obvious, you have to give him some kind of mountain to climb, otherwise the journey of him getting there will just feel pretty redundant. So Hogan comes out to finally take possession of the X Division title from Austin Aries, but Rude cuts him off pretty quickly and just tears him a new one. And I will say that lately Hogan has been much better about letting the young guys get heat on him like this. It doesn't seem like he always has to have the last word or get over on them in some way. He's reining himself in, and it's been very beneficial to the rest of the product. Instead of Hogan cutting Rude off, Austin Aries comes out and Hogan just stands back and lets these guys go at it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The exchanges between Rude and Aries have been really excellent, and this was no different. Rude crapping on Aries, and by extension the X Division, Aries not backing down and not taking any of Rude's shit, and fading out with Aries nailing Rude and holding up the X Division and World title belts. I'm not ashamed to say I nearly creamed all over myself. I'm more excited for Destination X than any TNA pay-per-view probably in years, just for that main event. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, though. Yeah, they still got Rude versus Storm on the horizon, but with the role he's been on, I don't see how they cannot put the belt on Aries this Sunday. Maybe like Schleg Daddy suggested, they could have Rude try to cheat, but Storm stops him, which leads to Aries winning. I'd be cool with that. It wouldn't have to be a long title reign. They could have Rude win it back before Bound for Glory, maybe in another way that involves Storm somehow. It might not be what was planned originally, but how the hell do you stop Austin Aries at this point? I don't fucking know. I thought this was a really effective go-home show. It did seem like they were splitting their focus between hyping the pay-per-view and hyping Impact next week, which I don't fault them for at all. I mean, the move to 8 p.m. is still affecting viewership, so it's good that they're really stacking these shows in advance now to give people more incentive to tune in. And they've got a lot of stuff laid out for that show, too. They got the Joseph Park Bully Ray match, they got Angle vs. Anderson, Gale vs. Tessmacher, a teased appearance of this Aces and Eights faction, so a really loaded lineup for next week. In the meantime, they did a good job building up Destination X as well. Although, there was a pretty big casualty in the announcement of Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle. They had this great video package about it, but I believe that was all the hype it got. Now, it will be a Bound for Glory series match, so TNA can just say that's why it's happening. And for me, that's reason enough. But it does feel like this one was kind of an afterthought, unfortunately, and that's a damn shame. Really nice Impact this week. There were a couple hiccups. Not all the matches were seamless, but I marked the fuck out for Kenny King, and Destination X is looking like an awesome pay-per-view. Ugh, man. Doing this with minimal sound bites is hard. And if Impact continues to be good, I may have to do it a lot more often. How the hell am I going to be entertaining every week unassisted? Maybe a catchy outro would help. You know, something like, I'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe show. Not that, obviously, but you get the idea. I didn't have an outro planned for this week, though. So what the hell do I do? How do I end this video? Oh, I know. Sign Kenny King right now!